Every All-Star season is doomed, but can the new All-Stars really be even worse than the original one? Well, today we're gonna find out in this Disventure Camp All Stars vs Total Drama All Stars final debate. To make this as objective as possible, there will be 7 rounds along the way. In each round, one of the 2 seasons will get a point. In the end, the season with the most points will be declared the superior All-Star season. The cast. I'll start with Disventure Camp. Out of the 28 contestants that have been in the series so far, the cast was perfectly made from the people who had the biggest impact on the gameplay. Even though the filler characters were dropped this season, I like that we still got to see what some of them were up to in the first episode. So Disventure Camp did a pretty good job in picking the cast, while Total Drama almost did the same. From the official announcement, most of the fans weren't really happy with the contestants chosen for the Total Drama All-Stars, and it's understandable why. It's called All-Stars after all. You expect the best of the best to be there. But we have to deal with characters like Sierra and Sam, who at this point were only seen as filler characters. Yet contestants like Owen, Dawn, or Lashana, some of the most beloved contestants of all time, were left behind. So the point goes to Disventure Camp. Character development. I'll start with Disventure Camp because it has more characters. Let's talk about the characters who got a development. Connor evolved a lot this season by finally letting go of Rhea and becoming some kind of mentor for the other contestants. Gred had her redemption arc, Taz showcased her personal growth in terms of emotional stability, Ellie finally let go of her obsession with money, and Aiden was just based. Now for real. Aiden was, in my opinion, one of the smartest and most down-to-earth people in the entire show. Also, I know Alec got some hate, but honestly, I actually liked him. Sure, he wasn't an ideal human being, but he did change. He became a better person. Now let's get to the ones who got a derailment. Here we have Allie, Jake, and Rhea. First, there's Jake. Bro was always letting his feelings get in the way. I mean, he caused Ashley's, Connor's, and James's eliminations just because of his stubbornness. Allie turned on her allies for most of the season. And Rhea? She crossed the line so many times, I stopped counting. I know she was a villain, but man, the fact that she said this to Connor when everyone thought that he was paralyzed because of her?
Have fun in a wheelchair for the rest of your life.
That was a low blow. But let's see how Total Drama's character development went. It was horrendous. We had Duncan struggle with being nice, Gwen over trying to get Courtney's approval, Lindsay being dumber than ever, Cameron being at half of his brain capacity, and the list goes on and on. Joe, Lightning, and Sam remained pretty much the same, but that's a small percentage of the contestants. Most of this derailment happened so Mal can be seen as an all-powerful villain. Mal! The dude who acts and laughs like any other cartoon villain made to scare a 5-year-old. Look at villains like Duncan, Heather, or Alejandro. You can tell that these people are inspired by real-life villain stereotypes. Mal, on the other hand, seems like that weird dude no one wants to sit around during lunchtime. So for the character development, the point goes to Disventure Camp again. The challenges. Let's take a look at Disventure Camp's challenges. First, they didn't feel original. For most of the challenges, I felt like I was watching a classic Total Drama obstacle race. The musical challenge was the first one that really got my attention. Then, there's the pace and the tension. There is one big problem that pretty much fucked up the pace during the entire season. The long mid-challenge conversations. I remember watching the diving challenge and seeing this happening.
I feel bad, Ashley.
I mean, I love to see those scenes, but not when immunity is at stake. The ones from Total Drama All Stars were pretty good. Some of my favorites were the War Challenge, the Eating Contest, the Blue Moon Challenge, and the Boxing one. Although I can't say that they were extraordinary or totally original, they were interesting and had a good pace. So the point goes to Total Drama. The storyline. In Disventure Camp, the main storyline was the classic heroes versus villains rivalry. Now I won't lie to you, in the first moments, I saw a lot of potential in the villain alliance. But then they wasted it by making the heroes aware of it an episode later.
Rhea, Alec, Gret, Yule, Ellie, and Fiore have formed a secret villains alliance.
Sure, they had their moments in which they used the alliance, especially in the elimination ceremonies, but to be honest with you, for me it felt like it didn't really matter.
Bruh, what's even the point of this stupid alliance then?
I'm not saying that the creators shouldn't have used the alliance and just scrapped this plot immediately, but I think this storyline could have been explored more. Besides this, I feel like the creators tried too much to create a lot of emotional moments, to the point they overdid them.
I'm tired, Tess.
There were a lot of small storylines, like the relationship between Yule and Gret, the love drama between Tom, Jake, Aiden, and many others. I know the drama is kinda Disventure Camp's thing, but there was a big problem with this. I don't know how it felt for you, but for me, it was very annoying. Some of the drama felt unnatural. A perfect example is that scene in which Rhea changed Jake's original letter with the one made by herself in order to get Allie mad at him. Now the drama could have been solved if they would have just continued to talk for just 30 seconds, and there were a lot of cases like this one. In Total Drama's case, its first and main storyline was Mal's rise and the so-called ultimate villain, and Mike's journey to take back control of his body. Not really their biggest success. Besides the fact that Mal wasn't a threatening villain at all, he was defeated in the worst way possible. The button was not only one of the most offensive moments in Total Drama's history, but also one of the most anticlimactic ones. Then there's the heroes versus villains storyline, which was interesting on paper, but was very badly executed in the season. I'm starting to think that this exact storyline might be the reason behind the problems of both All-Stars. Yeah, Total Drama storylines felt more natural and were better managed. So this point goes to Total Drama. Elimination Order. In Disventure Camp, the first 6 eliminated contestants were James, Lake, Miriam, Hunter, Fiore, and Ellie. Except for Ellie, none of these people got too much character development, and most of them already got pretty far in the game the last time they competed. So until now, everything made sense. But then, things started to get messy. I feel like there was no logic. There was no story behind their elimination. Most of the time, it was about one person just turning against its alliance, or others being so concentrated on their emotions that they made stupid decisions that led to random eliminations. Out of the final 6, I think the most interesting characters that were still in the game were Gret, Connor, and Rhea. Only Rhea remained as a finalist. So here, the elimination order kinda sucks. But what about Total Drama? The first 6 people to be eliminated were Lindsay, Lightning, Joe, Sam, Heather, and Sierra. That pretty much made sense, because they were either ex-finalists or characters who didn't really evolve in the new season, so there was no point in keeping them. Also, the next 4 eliminations made sense. Their storylines were pretty much done. I think that it was a good decision to make Scott one of the 3 finalists, since it was pretty funny to see the new Scott during All Stars. Obviously, Mal was the main antagonist, and Zoe was the only person that could have stopped him, so they needed to be in the finale. I would say that the creators handled the elimination order pretty well in TDAS. So here, the point goes to Total Drama. Humor. Now, since humor is a pretty subjective thing, it's pretty hard to measure which season had the best humor. Yet, I think every fan who watched the season knows the big number of adult jokes that were spread throughout Disventure Camp All Stars. It reminded me of the original Total Drama Island. On the other hand, for Total Drama All Stars, humor wasn't exactly its strong point.
Cameron! What? I said we... Sorry, I can't hear you!
So this point goes to Disventure Camp. The finale. In both seasons, the final challenges were great. The one from Disventure Camp built more tension, especially in the Coliseum part. The 1-versus-1 fight between Jake and Rhea was a great moment, both visually and emotionally. Far better than what we get in the final challenge of Total Drama All Stars. But that's not the only thing that makes a great finale. There's also its result. After Mal's defeat, I honestly didn't really care who takes the money. Personally, I would have been okay with both of them, but I was pretty disappointed when Rhea took the money, after proving to be the worst human being in the entire Disventure Camp universe. Yet, when I think about it, after the end of Total Drama All Stars, I honestly didn't feel too much fulfillment. I mean, Mike and Zoe weren't exactly my all-time favorites. Campo Wanakwa was gone, and pretty much all the cast was gone as well. But Disventure Camp played their cards perfectly, because right after the disappointment of Rhea winning the money, we get to see the events that happen afterwards, seeing all the contestants getting their happy ending, plus that last part in which we see Rhea alone and unhappy is the perfect conclusion. So for the finale, the point goes to Disventure Camp, making it also today's winner. There it is, guys. If you liked this video, you'll surely love this one, in which I compare Total Drama Island 2023 to Disventure Camp Season 1. And see you next time with a brand new video.